Well, I got the pictures from Washington, D.C. They held their Choose Respect rally about 4 hours ago, and I didn't notice anyone wearing fur hats or sorels or scoop skirts or down jackets, but I did feel comforted knowing that 4,000 miles from where we stand, others were joining together to choose respect, to stand up, to speak out about the issues that face us as a state and as a nation. I think we recognize all too well that marching is just an act. Coming together for one day is just an act, but that is not the solution. That is not the solution. We all know the statistics far, far, far too well. And statistics can be sobering, but headlines can be damning. And when we read an article in our own newspaper that calls Alaska the rape capital of the nation, that should devastate us all. And to Disa Jacobson, who was just here, calling us to shame, we should be ashamed. I am ashamed. I am ashamed that in a state that I love so dearly, in a state that is as beautiful and majestic as it is, that we are the rape capital of the nation. This is horrible. It is absolutely intolerable, and we must end this. We must end this. There's so much that so many of us do. Those of you that are involved with our shelters, those of you that are involved in reaching out and caring for women as victims, those of you who are in law enforcement, who get up every day to go out and help. I look at all the things that we have had in front of us over the past year since we came together and marched. We were able to provide funding for the shelter in Emonic that was running out. We were able to work together to provide funding for our VPSOs so that we could have more assistance out in our villages. We've been working to provide for that support for our tribal health providers so that we have all that we need within our rural communities so that the prosecutions can go forward, whether it's the rape kits or whatever. But as I was looking at that, everything that we are doing is reactive. It's after the fact. It's after these women and these children have been violated. It's after their lives have been ruined. Because long after that perpetrator has served his time or paid his fine or moved on with his life, that woman, that victim, is living with that trauma for the rest of her life. If she's alive. If she's alive. So when we talk about what we need to do, we must do more with law enforcement. We know that we have to do that. We must do more to protect. We know that we have to do that. But we must change the way that we view domestic violence, child sexual assault. We must change the attitudes. We must make a difference because we must be able to do more to prevent. It cannot be reactive. It has to be proactive. And so how we change that?
Start with the booze.
We've got to start with the booze. We must start with the alcohol. It is killing our state. Look at what is happening. We're seeing it far too often. How many times in examples where domestic violence, child sexual assault, how many times has it happened when somebody has been stone cold sober, just in complete control of their faculties? Not very often. I so admire what the Rasmussen Foundation is putting together with their Restore program, focusing on alcohol. We've got to address it, ladies and gentlemen. We must address it. We must do all that we can to teach our young boys, our young men, our men, that this is not an acceptable outlet for your anger, for your frustration. That it takes courage to walk away from the anger. It takes courage to step away, to not use your body to inflict pain and to inflict violence. We've got to change these attitudes. And as a community, we have to say no. It is not acceptable. It will never be acceptable. We've got to take the TSA's slogan, when you see something, say something. It is long past time when we are silent about this, when we are trying to protect neighbors or friends or relatives. The ones that we must protect are the ones who are being victimized. We must protect them and their children and their children's children. So marching today is one thing, but we must march on tomorrow, committing every day that we are going to bring an end to domestic violence and sexual assault, that we are going to turn the corner in this state, that we will no longer be viewed as the rape capital of the nation.
Hear, hear.
Thank you, Senator. Let me now introduce Gwen Adams.